All right, guys, in today's video, what we're going to be talking about is on these 2007 or 8 era and up type radios that have these kind of buttons along the top here. You get the paint peeling off of them, and we're going to talk about how you can replace those buttons to make it look new again. Stay tuned. All right, guys, when you have this kind of problem with the paint peeling, it's very common. You can't get the buttons from GM like you can on the previous generations of radios, starting with this series and all the way up to today. They don't sell the buttons. And there's a couple options you can do to fix this. One is you can put some stickers on here, and if you're interested in that, I'll put a link down below. I'm not going to do that. I've tried that in the past. I'm not happy with that. So what we're going to do with repairing this problem is we're actually going to show how we can replace the actual buttons and pop those in. It turns out most of these buttons are replaceable. So I'm just going to be pulling over some tools that I can use to help with that. The way these come out, you know, the old ones that are damaged, you can just use a flathead screwdriver. And you're just going to kind of right underneath, and it just takes a little pull, just like you saw me do there, right? So I'm push it back in. Let's kind of zoom in on that, right? So we're just going to go right underneath and just pull outward, and it comes right off. The thing is, you might not notice it, but there's a curve to the design of this radio. It's not straight. So each one of these buttons is unique. So when you go to get the 1 or 2 or 3, you know, in this case, you know, they all should go except maybe this one. And you go to the salvage yard and replace it, you just want to bear in mind the position, right? So I've got here a salvage yard radio. You can see the buttons in this one are really nice. You know, some situations you might even just decide to replace the whole radio. But I'm just going to go about, and this is just another angle on this. You know, you're going to go right in here. Now, what I'd like to do with the ones I'm keeping, like this one, is a plastic tool, just to put some less stress on this. So I'm just going to come down on this again. The problem with the plastic tool is it's harder to kind of get it under there. And in fact, you know, try a different one here. It's a little stiffer. Right, and it just pops out. Right, that way I'm not doing a whole lot of stress on this button and damaging it. And now I'm just going to come over, I'm going to take the bad one off here, and I'm just going to put the new one on and snap it in, right? And so if I go along the lines here, or if I keep them in a, you know, I keep the positions numbered, left 1, left 2, left 3, you know, right 3, right 2, right 1, however you want to do it, then you'll be able to remember what you need to do as you change these out. And that's straightforward. Now, this will work on any of these GM radios from this time period, right? And whether it's a Chevrolet, a Pontiac, you know, what have you, and you can go about this. And usually most salvage yards, like an LKQ, they'll only charge you, you know, a couple of bucks to pull these buttons, or you can probably get the whole radio. Pay 10 bucks for this whole radio, and you can swap it out that way. This is going to be a lot longer lasting, in my opinion, than the stickers, and it looks more normal and it looks more OEM. You can do that with these other buttons too if you happen to have that problem. Like, you know, if we see this power button here, you know, this one takes a little bit more force, but just kind of pull on it and it comes off, right? You can swap those out too. You can just do the middle piece, or you can do the bezel, or you can do the whole thing, you know, whatever it is that you need, and then you can reassemble it. Put it back in. It's got some teeth that hold that on. You can also pop out these buttons here, the eject button, the category button, the EQ button, the menu, the favorite, the time button. All of these are interchangeable, the tuning button. Guys, just real quick, if you need to move one of these other buttons off, I want to show that too. You know, same tool we're using on top, but it's a little bit more force. Apologize, I block it a little bit, but again, it's still that same thing where you see me push it in and pivot up, and that allows you to remove these kind of buttons too. So they can also be swapped out. So very similar to the channel select buttons. So I hope this helps you out and bring back your radio to its normal look. And again, you know, they don't make these buttons. You can't even get them from Dorman or anyone else. You're going to have to go to a salvage yard, but this gives you a nice OEM look. If you don't want to do that, of course, I'll link the stickers down below. What you'll have to do with the stickers is you'll have to take one of the old buttons, and you'll have to finish peeling all this paint off, right? You can see once it starts coming off, it's pretty easy to get it the rest of the way off. And what you'll find is you end up having to peel all this paint off, and then you can stick those stickers on here. I would clean it off with some alcohol if you go that route, and that's just a technique that you can do. You also have to get the little bit of white off here in the middle. and the whole sticker will just stick right on the button, and you can pop it back in the same way I showed there. I don't like the stickers though, because they start coming off at the edges. They just really don't last that long. This is the better way to go. And you might also want to consider too is when you pop these buttons off, just kind of pull one of these good ones that I had down here. You might even want to consider checking the edges to make sure the paint is not already starting to peel off the edges. And you know, I would even maybe consider putting a little bit of clear nail polish or some other type of clear paint around the edges just to give them a little bit more life. Anyway, if you got comments about how you do this or some sources for some of these parts, go ahead and leave that below. We'd like to hear about it. Otherwise, appreciate you taking the time to listen to the video. Hit that like button if this helps you out, and think about subscribing. Thanks for watching.